Hi, welcome back. Well, time now to buy my last sort of mainline DLC vehicle, the Envisage or the Hyundai Envision 74. Oh, this looks absolutely stunning. $2.5 million roughly, but it looks worth every one of those. Now, normally I would customize it right now, and I will do, but let's take it out for a little drive first. While we're driving it, let me tell you a little bit about the real car and what we're going to do today. Well, firstly, you may be surprised because although you know I build real world cars, so you're expecting me to build the prototype, and I will, I'm still going to give you three different builds despite doing a prototype, so that will be fun. Now, the real car, well, it's a bit of a monster. First, it may look big on the road here. It's big in real life. It's actually nearly 5 meters long and it weighs 2.5 tons. So it is a big car. Now, at its core, it is an electric car. It has 670 horsepower to the back wheels only, which is a very strange and welcome thing that has been done there, allowing, of course, for a huge amount of torque vectoring, and it's like your best differential in the world by having a motor on each wheel. And then, of course, nothing to the front. There is a fuel cell, which I believe is in the front, and in the back, really just like the one in the game, there's twin 4 kilogram hydrogen tanks. There's also a 67 kilowatt hour battery. So what happens is you're mainly driving a very fast battery electric vehicle, but it can be supplemented with the fuel cell giving out 115 horsepower, being fed of course by the hydrogen tanks. Also, if you just want to go somewhere, it'll do 370 miles because as well as using the battery, the fuel cell can just keep topping that up until it runs out of hydrogen. It is, of course, a concept car, a two-seater with potentially no luggage space and the size of a Merc S-Class isn't going to be ideal, but of course what they're doing is developing the technology for future use. Why 74 in the name? Well, we're 50 years on from 1974, and that's when Hyundai had a little coupe called the Pony, and they've taken some of the styling features from that car, both externally and internally. So that was probably the driving force for this particular concept being this gorgeous, muscular and stunning coupe. Now, it seems to drive really, really well. Very happy so far, but really it is time to go and get it built. As I mentioned before, I'm going to build you three different versions of the car. Now, this is my second attempt at filming this. I messed up the first time, so apologies. Things like armour, bulletproof tyres, all that are already on, but visually it's still stock. Our first and very extreme build is actually building a car that only exists as a render. A couple of designers said, what could the Envision look like if it had a load of 80s American excess all over the car? And they went mad. They went to town on it and produced these renders, which got published in a lot of places. And I think it's fairly obvious from some of the parts we can do that Rockstar have seen these renderings. So let's first build this extreme car. Armour is already at 4 then. The body trim is simply changing whether it's carbon or not. Not only can you not see it, but I can't find much reference to carbon in the literature, so let's just leave it as the black plastic stock. I'm leaving the brakes for the moment. The canards, we want a single big canard, and the plastic canard here will be our closest for that car. Engines at stage 4. Fenders, you can see the piece that it's changing there, and we certainly don't want it trimmed. They have got more of a full outlet here, so I think I'm going to go for the rendered one with plastic fenders. It's the closest. Front bumpers, again, it's whether this is coloured or not. Well, even on the render it seems to be coloured, so we'll leave it stock. Hood accessories, they're all very tasteful, and I love the strakes, but stock works for the build. It's the same with the hood. There's some really good hoods in here. I got to compliment Rockstar on the choice of things. Nothing too silly, but we're staying stock. On the lights, the slight oranginess to these is exactly on the real thing, so don't change the lights. For the livery, for the moment, I'm not going to put a livery on this at all. I can see virtually nothing off the livery on the render. We're going back to them though on the full build. For the plate, I put my electric plate on and I put it on in black. For the respray, I'm going to go with a metallic colour, rolled steel, and then add a really bright pearlescent, which is frost white is the best. I think with a lot of ease, this gives sort of the finish of that rendered one. I mean, they've rendered something in there that's really hard to make in reality. The secondary colour, classic black. You can see by the way it's changing some stuff around the lights. Sorry, the lights and the mirrors. Trim colour we'll just leave as graphite, which they did already. It is mostly a black sort of colour inside the real car. For the roof, as far as I can see, the rendered one has been left stock. The splitters, there's only 2 splitters here, each with 3 finishes, the stock one and the track lip. And this track lip is perfect for the car we're going to build. It's jutting out, even the support brackets are correct. I think maybe the tow hook isn't, but anyway. Now for the spoiler, we'll use this to look through all the spoilers. I think there's a really good selection of spoilers on the car. Ducktail, that track wing looks nice, so does that one. That looks slightly out of keeping. The downforce kit looks really good. Then it's silly, 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 silly but not silly. It's the one we're going to have, the extreme performance wing, because this is what's fitted to the rendered car. Admittedly it has a central strut and it joins down here. I think this one would probably shake itself off the car in reality, but that's what's on there. Sun strips are on the car, and I think the black Mind Matte gets as close as we can get. Suspension needs to go all the way down. That looks about right with the wheels touching the tyres almost touching the arches. And for the wheels, into sport, into chrome and Mercy. Chrome Mercies look very close with the tyre design. And I've already put bulletproof tyres on. For the windows, now these are hydrogen tanks in the back, a pair of them. They're just like the real car. It's a pair of 4-kilogram tanks. I'd love to still be able to sort of see them through the back, but on both the render and the real car, the windows are very dark. So you can go to either limo or maybe, I think, dark smoke. However, when you're driving, if you have the camera low, you can still see them in there a bit. And also from the front. So that completes the first build, which we will alter for the second build. But yes, if you want to build this extreme render, you really want to go mad, you must empty that nightclub safe, then that's your build. Looking a little bit orangey in the sunlight. Okay, so there we are. So take... No, I will buy one later. Yeah, so take a look at that if you want the rendered one, and it's nice to know that whilst building our prototype we can have more than one build. Okay, straight back in, and now we're going to look at building 2 versions of the standard car, and they only differ with their wheels, because all the ones that got tested, for example on the Autocar magazine test, had a black multi-spoke wheel on, and I think it's probably at a guess because the show wheels were either not production ready in strength, or maybe they just didn't breathe enough for the brakes, I don't know. So what do we change? Well, the prototype is easier, so we're leaving body trim, brakes. The canards we remove, we don't want that, that's none. Engine still at 4, of course. The fenders we actually want stock again. The bulk of the prototype is stock. Front bumpers will again stay stock. Hood accessories stay stock. Hood stays stock. So do the lights. The livery. I want to show you the liveries. No, no, When you start to get to these stripes, you realise that these bits of the stripes do exist in the black on the real car. They may not be here on the fenders though. And when you get to the Tech Bollocan stripes, or is it Bollocan? This exists on the real car, albeit it's got a big 74 in as part of the name of the car. And it would be nice to have those in. So my thoughts are to leave the white version of the Tech Bollocan stripes on and accept against the silver that we're going to do. It won't stand out too much, but I think there's more referencing of the prototype there. No, no, no. I love purple, but no. So Tech Bollocan stripes. The plate you've seen, I used my buzzing plate. For the respray, what I really want is a sort of satin silver. Now, there is a way of doing it with the crew colour. I've shown it on a video. There's quite a few steps. I think probably at least half of you won't even want to go through it for the slight advantage it gives. So I'm going to go with a classic. Let's just go black, make sure the pearlescent is gone. Yeah. A classic bluish silver. And I think that just by itself gets very close to the show car finish without too much messing about. Still remaining black and graphite on the next two. Still remaining stock on the roof, which is really the tailgate. Splitters. Well, here we just go with the stock splitter. Spoiler. It's the stock spoiler. So bear in mind that if you want a spoiler for traction benefits, and having just driven the car, I don't think you really need to worry about that. Yeah, and you would have to find something else. You'd probably have to go with something like the track wing, I would think. But really, stock spoiler is your answer. Sun strips, there isn't one that I can see really on the prototype. Suspension, you don't want it as low, you would want lowered for the prototype. Wheels, you have two options. If you want to park this in your garage, as it was seen at motor shows, as it's seen in the Hyundai, I believe that's not how you pronounce it, by the way. I've forgotten the real way. But anyway, in the Hyundai webpage, then you need to go to track, stovetop. I'm really surprised the stock wheels are not right on this car. They've gone for something even more adventurous. You would paint them in white. And given that I'm probably going to leave the windows as they are, that completes the build of the car as the stock prototype. And you're aware that not much has changed, and from memory it's simply the wheels, the windows, the livery. I'm not sure we've changed much else at all on the car. So that looks good, but these wheels for me don't quite have the impact of the very, very similar wheels on the prototype. And I'm not really a fan of white wheels on a silver car, not even with these extra bits of white livery. So I'm going to build the car as it was tested by Autocar and I think some other places as well, where it was supplied with a black multi-spoke wheel. And if we go to Street, Mercy Concave, in black, this is how the car was seen on so many test tracks. Probably a better breathing wheel, and I do, on a very silver car, like a lot of black. In fact, I have had one silver sports car in my time, and I did go to a bit of effort to give it black wheels and some other black parts in optional places where you could go black, because I just think if you've got a silver car, you want as many black details as you can for that contrast. So there we are, that is my final build of the car, and we'll come back later when it's daylight to have another little look. Stunning. I mean, that is the only way to describe this. I think it looks really, really good. I'm so pleased that I found that I could put these black wheels on, because now to me the car is elevated to something really, really nice. So I want to see how it drives. It is a bit limiting on a car like this with the road. Of course, it's quite big, it's quite fast, and we've got a lot of NPCs. So ultimately, if I don't want to smash it into 1,000 tiny pieces, it is a little difficult. So I will touch on it here, but we will do a proper track test. I've already filmed all 5 of these DLC cars on the track, and it was amazing. They felt similar in some ways on the road, but once I opened it up on the track and I had plenty of room and time to play with the cars, there are some significant differences in how they drive, and some are so much better than others. So if you're a subscriber, you'll see it pop into your box anyway. If not, well, you'd better subscribe because you don't want to miss it. That's going to come out, I'm hoping, within 24 hours if I can get the footage put together. I've got the notes, but one thing I will tell you here, in case you don't want to watch that, is yes, this is a nice driving car. I'm very happy driving it around. I mean, like all electric cars, you may as well play Spotify or one of the in-game radio stations in the background. But yeah, it's a great car, and I think you'll enjoy it. I say, for more detail, watch the other video. So this video has been extremely long. I suppose it's because I told you about the car, because we had 3 builds and everything. But hope you made it to the end. If you did, the code word put in the comments is buzzing to show you got that far, so thank you so much. Please like it if you liked it, sub if you like real cars in GTA, and thank you so much for watching.